Thank you, Mr President. I also rise to put on record my appreciation of the work of our remarkable, trailblazing, fearless colleague, Irene Nevmadikos, who has really made a big contribution to politics in this state and a big contribution to this chamber. Reflecting a little bit before speaking on this, I was reminded that I've known Irene many times. For many years, rather. I was a friend of her daughter, Demi, at university, and so first met Irene when I was in my 20s at that time. And Demi was always really rightly proud of her mother's achievements. And I remember meeting her as a young person. She was someone who made a huge impression then. I saw her many times over the years. Demi and I actually lived together in share housing. One of my funniest memories of Irene was Demi and I used to run a competition over who had the best decorated bedroom in the share house. And we decided we would need to bring in an objective judge. Who best to choose than the Honourable Irene Nevmadikos, who came in, took one look at the two rooms and said, well, clearly Roberts is better. I did think it was an unfair contest for Demi to be facing off against a gay man like myself with amazing interior design skills, but it was Irene that called it and did it in 30 seconds. She was always straight to the point, and I've always appreciated that directness about Irene. But she's someone who, in her political career, I think, has demonstrated the capacity to cut through to an issue and to say what needs to be said, and to say it without the BS. I think that's something that we're really going to miss. I might briefly reflect a little bit on Irene's career and her story. She was the daughter of working-class migrants who came to Australia seeking democracy and economic fairness. She was educated at Mitchell Park Primary, Para Hills West Primary, Salisbury East High School and the University of Adelaide. And she has qualifications in the Bachelor of Arts with honours, a Bachelor of Laws, a graduate diploma of legal practice. She has really spent her working life dedicated to advocating for people that are often denied political power. She was a caseworker for the Adelaide Women's Community Health Centre. She worked as a migrant workers' rights officer in the FMWU. She was a trade union training authority review officer for WorkCover. She was a conciliation and arbitration officer for the Workers' Compensation Tribunal, a solicitor for Equity Partners. She was a community representative on the Australian Federal Government delegation to the United Nations Fourth World Conference on Women in Beijing in 1995. And Irene is someone who has always believed that the luck of circumstances someone is born into should not be a barrier to access to education, healthcare and employment. Other members have remarked on Irene's significant contribution here in the Parliament. She co-sponsored the Free Menstrual Hygiene Products Pilot Program. She's been an advocate for abortion law reform and the decriminalisation of sex work, and I know worked very closely with my colleague, the Honourable Tammy Franks, and been chair of committees inquiring into wage theft and the gig economy. And I think it's fair to say that Irene has been a powerhouse advocate for working people. I would just conclude with a story about Irene in the context of the recent anti-protest laws. I really admired the fact that she came out and stood with protesters on the steps of this Parliament in the days before that vote, and also joined union leaders at the protest in Festival Plaza. And when she was asked by journalists why she was there, she said, "I've come to hear the views of the community." And I think good on her. Irene has always been someone who has been willing to stand up to power, stand up to vested interests and fight for what is right, even if that has meant ruffling feathers in the Labor Party, and I really respect her for that. Might I say, as other members have done, my thoughts are with Irene in her health battle. I understand this will be a challenging time for her and her family, but as my colleague, the Honourable Tammy Franks, said, she is going to really take on this health battle, and cancer has got one thing coming if it thinks it's going to get the better of Irene Nevmadikos. and so I really wish her all the best. We'll miss her from this parliament, but we know that this will not be the end of Irene's activism, and she'll continue to be there standing along with all of us fighting for progressive values.